Thanks so much for joining. Haven't been on live for a while, so I'm being adventurous today. Thanks so much for joining. My name is Quishar, and I am the CEO of Quishar Detroit Publishing. And my main goal with Quishar Detroit Publishing is to educate new authors about the self-publishing process. So I'm so excited to be here today. I am a three-time author. And for the last week or so, I've been doing videos and posts about the self-publishing process. So hopefully you've had a chance to take a look at the videos. We spoke about the cost to self-publish, the different definitions or terms in self-publishing. Today, I want to talk about 7 ways to proofread your book or self-edit before you send your manuscript to your editor. Okay? So, the first way is to change the font size in your document. Because sometimes if you're looking at one whole document, everything looks the same. You can't really distinguish if there are any errors unless something, jumps out at you. So one thing you can do is to change the font size, either the font size or the different type of font. Like for instance, New Times Roman or Arial, or let me think of some other fonts. Font names here. Let's see. Area Black, Cambria. So those are different fonts. You can change the different fonts and the font size. Maybe instead of having a 10-point font, you can change it to a 12-point font. So it'll be a little distinguishing trait to help you look for something that may stand out a little bit. The second thing you can do is to divide your manuscript into different chapters. So if you have 7 chapters, divide each chapter into a separate Microsoft Word document or a Google Drive document, so you can just focus on that one portion and not the entire document. Okay. The second thing you can do is to use a spelling and grammar checker on Microsoft Word, and it'll pick up, immediate spelling errors and things like that. So that's another thing you can do. The third thing you can do is to use the free tool on Grammarly. Now, Grammarly may pick up a little, more than the Microsoft Word check will pick up. So you can, take a look at Grammarly and see, what the difference is in your manuscript. Okay, so again, just to review, the first thing is to maybe change the type of font or the font size. The second thing is to divide up your manuscript into separate chapters, so you can focus on different chapters. Maybe like on Monday, you can focus on chapter 1. Tuesday, focus on chapter 2, and so on. The third thing to do is to use a spell check on Microsoft Word. Fourth thing, use the free tool on Grammarly. The fifth thing you can do is to read your manuscript aloud, or use the read aloud tool. And the read aloud tool is under review, under the review tab. Hey Sandra, thanks so much for joining. So we're talking about 7 ways to self-edit your book before you send it to your editor. So we talked about the first thing, to divide your manuscript into separate Microsoft Word documents or Google Drive documents. So divide them into separate chapters so you can just focus on that one chapter. As for instance, Monday, you can focus on chapter 1, Tuesday, chapter 2, and so on. The second thing we talked about is using the spelling and grammar checker on Microsoft Word. Okay. The third thing we talked about, using the free tool on Grammarly. And the fourth thing is to read your manuscript aloud, or use the read aloud tool on Microsoft Word. It's under the review tab. It's like to the right of the word count tab. Okay. The fifth thing that you could do is to, once you correct all the inconsistencies, and you get a clean copy. So you divide up each chapter, and you made all the edits that you could make. And so you combine everything into one document. You've corrected all the inconsistencies, and you're going to send a copy to beta readers. Now, beta readers are people that are in your target market who are your main target market. So those are people going to read your book. They're going to have a fresh set of eyes on your book, and they can tell you if there are any gaps or any holes in your story or your manuscript. So they'll be the first people that read your book and give you feedback on your book. And to repay them, you can offer them a free paperback book, or you can offer to put their name in the acknowledgement section in your book. Typically, those are the kind of things that people do when someone is a beta reader for them. The next thing you can do, this is the seventh thing, update your manuscript from the beta readers, and then you print out your manuscript and do a final review by paper. Hey, Dalia, thanks so much for Dolly. Thanks so much for joining us today. We are talking about I have 7 ways to self-edit your book before sending it to an editor, but actually I have 8 things on here. So we just finished talking about, so I'm going to go over the list again. We're at number 6, update your manuscript with updates from your beta readers. And then the final thing to do is to print out your manuscript and do a final review by paper, because sometimes you can catch things on paper that you can't really catch on the screen. And after that, make final corrections, save your clean manuscript, and then send that to the editor. So we're going to go over again. So it's actually 8 things. The first thing I talked about is to change the font. So whatever the font is, like if you saved your work in, I think it's called Times Roman, change the font size, because it'll make some things kind of stand out. Change the font size and also the font, the type of font that you have. The second thing is to divide your manuscript up into different chapters. So if you have 7 chapters, divide your manuscript into 7 Microsoft Word documents or Google Doc. However you save your documents, you can divide them up in separate chapters so that you can just focus on, thank you, Sandra. You can focus on those chapters. If you divide up, each chapter, and Monday you can do chapter 1, review that. Tuesday, do chapter 2, and so on. Wednesday, chapter 3, and so on. The next thing to do is to use a spelling and grammar checker on Microsoft Word. The fourth thing to do is to use the free tool on Grammarly, because sometimes Grammarly pick some things out that they don't pick out on Microsoft Word. So that's something, to look at as well. And it's free. They have free options and paid options as well, but I use the free option. The fifth thing to do is to read your manuscript aloud, because sometimes when you read your manuscript aloud, you'll catch some things and you'll see if it's the regular, if it sounds right. You'll catch some things that you can't catch when you're just reading it. When you read it out loud, you'll see if that's like a normal conversation. If something that doesn't sound right, doesn't gel, at that time, you'll pick it up just by listening. So if you don't want to read it out loud, there is a tool under the review tab. It's called Read Aloud. And then you press that and it just reads your manuscript aloud. So if you don't feel like reading it, let the computer do it for you. The next step, number 6, is to correct all inconsistencies that you found in Microsoft Word, Grammarly, after reading aloud, and then get a clean copy ready for beta readers. And so what is a beta reader? A beta reader is a person that is in your target market. So get 3 to 4 people that are in your target market, ask them to read your book, and in turn for them reading your book and giving you their feedback, you can list their name in the acknowledgement section of your book, or you can give them a free ebook or a free paperback book, whichever you decide. But have them read, and then, just take some, have them review it and give you some feedback. And some of the things that they say, you may want to look at it. You may not want to change it, but at least you have some feedback, because these are your target market. These are people in your target market. So if they are having a problem understanding some things, then you may want to correct that before you get it to your editor. And the last thing is to update your manuscript after you get the updates from your beta readers. And then the final thing to do is print out the manuscript and just read it by hand and see if you catch some things that you didn't catch before. And then the last thing to do is to make the final corrections, save your final clean copy, and then you can get it to your editor. So I hope these tips were very helpful. Does anybody have any questions? I just finished a class with Dr. Sandra and people. She's on this live, and we were talking about marketing your new book, because many of you that follow me know that I just published my book, Skyrocket Your Success, in March, and I wanted to find new ways to market my book. My book is for professional women who have delayed their success in life because of like self-sabotaging behaviors like procrastination, self-doubt, living for someone else's approval. And I just talk about 10 steps to reposition, refocus, and reclaim your purpose. So I just wanted to get some, extra tips on how to kind of, zone in on my target market, so that I am, when I do videos and when I create content, I'm creating content for my target market so that they can see that this book is for them. Because I'm like basically saying, come read me. So I want to, zoom in on that target market so that the people that I wrote the book for, so that they can understand that it's for them. And hopefully, I'm able to provide the tools and resources to get past all those things that stop us from, following our dreams and our goals in life. Also, I do want to let you know that I have a webinar that I just created. And if you are interested in that webinar, let me know, because it's on my page on Facebook, and I can send that information to you. So, Dolly, is there a preferred amount of pages that most readers prefer? Can you kind of explain a little bit, because I'm not understanding. Is there a preferred amount of pages that most readers prefer? Oh, you're saying as far as your book, how long should your book be? Is that what you're asking me? The length of your book? I'm not really sure on what you're asking. So, Dolly, if you can just kind of expand on your question. I don't know, because I'm kind of gathering. Are you asking how long should your book be? How many pages? How many chapters? Is that what you're asking me? And I know there's a delay. Okay, so now this is the thing. So as long as you are presenting a problem in the book, okay, you're introducing who you are, why you're the expert, you're presenting the problem. As long as you solve the problem in the book, then, if you can do that in 5 chapters, 6, 7 chapters, but I created a QDP method, which is 10 chapters. Now, you don't have to have 10 chapters, but I created a method, an outlining method that's 10 chapters, that you present the topic, you ask certain questions about the topic, you bring up different steps after your problem is resolved, so that you can continue the relationship with the person. But are people more inclined towards smaller books, 150 pages or more? Yes, I think so, because people, we have a short attention span, especially now. So that if you can get the material in like under 150 pages, if it's like a nonfiction book, then, probably under 150 pages. But if it is a fiction book, sometimes those tend to be a little bit longer. But for nonfiction, yeah, if you can get it, around 150 pages, that typically is, good, because people take bite-sized chunks. And if you can give it to them in, a smaller version versus longer, because like our attention spans are really short nowadays. But if you have good material and it's over 150 pages, that's fine too. But typically, people like to get the information right away. So if you can do it, in anywhere between 5 to 10 chapters, then if you are presenting a problem and resolving the problem and then tying everything together at the end of the book, then that's pretty good. So I hope I answered your question. Thanks so much for joining. Girl Shanstorm. I'm sorry, I can't Golshan. Thanks so much for joining. Hello. So pretty much that's it. I just wanted to come in. I haven't been live in a long time. I do a lot of videos all the time on my IGTV channel. Please check it out. I have a new series, self-publishing 101 for new authors. So if you're a new author and you're looking to publish a book, what I do is provide tools and resources so that you won't go into the situation blind. So at least you'll know some things that you need to look for, and so that you won't be taken advantage of. So that's why I provide those tools and resources. Okay. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask the questions. Send me a direct message. I'll be more than happy to assist you. So, okay, great. Dolly, I'm glad I answered your question. Any other questions? And again, if you want that webinar that I did, I just created a webinar a few days ago. It talks about 10 steps to writing your book. Let me know, send me a direct message, and I can send you the link so that you can take advantage of it. I've created all of these different resources because I'm going to put it together in a course, but I'm just trying to try it out, see if this information, is helpful to you, and it kind of helps me and guides me when I create content. So if there are no other questions, I'm going to go ahead and end this live. But again, thanks for everyone that joined me today. I really appreciate it. Kelly, Sandra, Dolly, Leon, and there was somebody else that joined here. I'm trying to go through and make sure I say hello to everybody. And Goldshan, thanks so much for joining. Yeah, you know what? It's free for a limited time. So yes, if you want me to send it to you, Dolly, I'll go ahead and send it to you. Okay. There's not a cost to this because, like I said, I'm testing it out to see if this is, good information. So it's no charge for it. I'm going to have it available for at least, a couple of days. So I'm just kind of testing it out. So I can send it to you if you like. Okay. All right, then. Well, again, my name is Quishar, and I thank you so much for tuning into my live. I do invite you to check my IGTV channel out and take a look at the Self-Publishing for New Authors series. If you have questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them. And again, those videos are going to come down probably sometime this weekend. Okay, Dolly, I'll send it to you. All right, so thanks again for tuning in. You're welcome. My pleasure. All right, have a great day. Great night, rather, because it's like almost 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So, all right. Talk to you soon.